Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is not a drill.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening and welcome to All Natural Being. I'm Brian Brawdy, fired up to be with you on a Sunday evening for certain. We just got through with our last edition, if you will, of the sneak speak for everything coming up on IPM Nation this week. So I was proud to hang out with Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy, as well as Matt Connerton from IPM Nation itself. So we were pretty fired up about that. So that's always a nice way to kick off a Sunday evening for certain. Now, let me just do this real quick and go like here and make this 2 and now. And make this, and now we're finally ready. I got a little bit of audio feedback in here. I don't know why that is, but we'll keep working on it. See what we can do. Oh, look at that. I'll tell you all about setting up the new studio and everything going in there. But before we do that, welcome and thank you for stopping by and hanging out once again. Just fired up to be going topless for the 392nd episode of the #1 rated show. Boy, am I lucky, I got to tell you, the #1 rated show here on IPMNation.com. You're in to All Natural Being and the Gong. It's all about the gong. The gong heard round the world broadcast as it happens, thanks to our good friends at Telestream's Wirecast, live from the Transitional Radio Uplink here in the beautiful suburb that I live in of Columbus, Ohio. It is broadcast directly to IPMNation.com if you're listening. Also multicast live on Facebook and over on the allnaturalbeing.com website, as well as our Brian Brawdy app. And as you know by now, you can follow our little evening soiree, the little broadcast of what we do here on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, all the usual suspects. Greetings wherever you are here. And it's just a blessing to be here in the garden of the mortals, the labyrinth of life itself, the ups and downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, the flukes, the whims, the sheer havoc of the synchronicity, the serendipity of it all. Blind alleys and cul-de-sacs, never a dead end until you decide to ultimately tap out. Now, it's true, life constantly comes at us. Fate is relentless, but so is divine intervention. Every chop block of fate, the Supreme is just waiting. It's called for the bullpen. It's queuing up a counterpunch. So I guess you could say that life's labyrinth is the back and forth between the assault of fate and, of course, all the trolls, the assault of fate and the retaliation of the divine, however you define it. It's a chess match between your dynamic and the dark that pursues each and every one of us. Either way, it's your shot at running the table, at leveling out only where and when you see fit. No committee vote, no binge thinking. You don't need permission from anyone. It's up to you and your ferociousness. It's in your blood. You can feel it. Now you just have to get your mind to remember who you ultimately are and then embrace that memory. And that's why we're here, to be your amnesia buster, because it's my opinion that if we're suffering, it's because we're suffering from amnesia. So we're here to be your friendly blue force, your cognitive left of bang, always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list, reinstalling and reinstating the true wit and wisdom and wallop of your inner whisper, rebooting your robust, commencing your counterpunch, all in time to out-brutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal us on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all, because you know, if you follow this show, that I believe that there's a storm coming. We can be jacked up by that storm, or we can be buttoned up to face it. And the stunning beauty of it all is that you make the call. Before we hit it this evening, I want to do a quick hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, and Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Iran, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Argentina, Peru. Hello, Austria, Poland. To those of you joining us from all over the globe, as I say each and every night that we're here, it's great to have you with us. And I truly am fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your virtual hitchhiker if you're out and about on the go. But regardless of how you come to be with us, I'm fired up, as always, to be avidly you. So what are we waiting for? We're going to talk about Mortal Up this evening, as I did over in the Facebook post. Here's your opportunity. It's time to love the way you think. It's time to be your all-natural being. It's time for you to bring your grit to the relentless grip of life. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And right off a bat, or right out of the box tonight, I want to thank our good friends at Blender Buffer for this beautiful, it's the bullet blender, but the blender buffer is what allows me to kind of like literally keep the lid on, right? Keep it tamped down early morning hours, so I'm not waking up the whole household. And they went ahead and did a hashtag Mortal Up just for me. And I also want to thank my friends that got the Mortal Up hat as well. So if you get a chance, head on over. You can see the link in the post. Head on over to Blender Buffer and learn there's no reason why you can't have your delicious coffee, if that's what you drink in the morning, your blended coffee. You can't have your delicious drink, whatever that drink is, without all the decibels, without waking everybody up, without disturbing your peace and quiet. So I want to thank our good friends at Blender Buffer for I love it. It's mortal. Like I said, it's so nice. I don't even know if I want to use it. It looks so nice. But it'll be here on the set. And believe me, for when we get to the 81 to win, the Guinness World Record attempt coming up, we'll successfully complete that, as you know, on St. Patrick's Day of 2019. I'll be using this Blender Buffer. We'll be using it right during the show in order to go ahead and make sure that we're able to hit the record. All right, let me hop into the post. But before I do that this evening, let me also remind everyone that if you want to give us a holler, you can call us toll-free 833-646-3877, which is also 833-MIND-UPS, MINDUPS, just like push-ups or sit-ups or pull-ups. You're welcome to give us a holler, and we'll go from there. Let me say good evening to John. John, thank you for joining us. Lee as well. Henry, nice to see you. It was great to catch up today, brother. I hope tonight you can talk a little bit about how much fun you had at the coast, because I had a smile on my face the whole time talking to you. He says, good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to you as well. Donna, thank you so very much for joining us. Hello. Matt says, welcome back, Henry. Matt, thank you for joining us. And as I said earlier, thank you for everything with Sneak Speak, and to Lee. And so we meet again. Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy, thank you for being a guest this evening earlier on Sneak Speak, where we just get together and give everyone an idea of what's coming up on IPM Nation all week long. So thank you for that. Wayne, good evening. Nice to see you. Time to keep the eyes on Brian once again. I know. Happy New Year, you big lug. Candace also, welcome. John says, hey, everybody, long time. Hope you've all been well. John, as we hope you have been well. Thank you very much. And Ken Ratliff, we see Kenneth is joining us. Thank you so very much for being a part here of our little show Sunday night. I think we said it was the 392nd episode of All Natural Being. Thank you so very much. Don't forget our toll-free number, 833-646-3877. If you're into the acronym of it all, it's 833-MINDUPS, MINDUPS. If you get a chance, come on over and let me know what you're thinking. All right, so this evening, hello, Kenneth. This evening, what we're talking about is this whole concept. You know, I've been going back and forth with, not back and forth, but discussing it with Henry, discussing it with Wayne, discussing it with Lee Rowley, and Marcellus. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. But this whole concept of that your brand, you know, when people talk about branding, when they talk about what it takes to unleash your presence, you know, that it's already in you. So when we fall for this carrot on the end of the stick, when we fall for the bucket list, when we fall for this sense of resolutions and goals, what if you're already great enough? And it's just been something that's encompassed my mind for a good couple of weeks now, where people saying, oh, well, I'm very excited about my New Year's resolutions. Well, I'm very excited. As we say all the time, I'm avidly you. Because what if your mental rhythm, what if your mental field truly is lightning in a bottle? So here's what I wanted to kick around this evening. You know about the magnetic field, you know. I mean, can you imagine the North Pole setting a New Year's resolution where it goes, oh, well, this year I'd like to be more North Pole? No, it already knows that the field is created. So if you take magnetic filings, you throw those magnetic filings out, right? It follows the pattern of the field. So what if, just for the next 20 minutes, maybe we can kick this around. I know, Wayne, 18 minutes and 30 seconds, but just for the next few minutes, if we could kick around the thought. Jennifer, good evening. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Marcellus, hello to you as well. If we could kick around the thought that your mind is a part of this field, and what if this field exists to help your mind point to true north? What if your mind exists so that if you just got out of your own way, if you stopped chop blocking yourself, that if you could align with this field, and it's no more metaphysical than quantum physics, right? But what if you could align? What if I'm right that the fingerprints of providence are all around us? When we talk about magnifying the moment, what if I'm right that in each and every moment of time, you know, the cognitive cairns that I talk about, you know, the stacks of rocks, the clues, the serendipity, the synchronicity, what if it all comes together? What if it's all a field that your mind is saturated in, but you and I go, oh, I could use a sign. Well, what if we're getting signs every moment from wherever you believe those signs come from? What if we're getting signs every moment, but we're so caught up in getting somewhere else that we tend not to recognize those signs, right? What if, and I don't want to be critical, right? Because I'll say this of myself. What if I'm the wrecking ball? Kathy, good evening. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. What if I'm my own wrecking ball to my own reality? What if all the different things that have gone south in my life, say the last 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, 10 years, 2 decades, whatever it is, what if I'm my own wrecking ball when it comes to that reality? And what if, right, and you can go, oh, Brian, you know, he's just nuts. He went like 2 years with his brain being subject to being 2.5 quarts low of spinal fluid. Look what it did to him. Well, could very well be. But suppose you borrowed my insanity for just a moment. Suppose you borrowed my craziness for just a moment and thought to yourself, maybe my mind really is immersed in this field. And this field is there to interact with my consciousness in such a way that putting my heart's highest priority top of the list just plain makes sense. So that's why when we come up with a 20-minute victory, it's only 1/72 of your day, because here's the coolest thing about my gig. And I say to people all the time, thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate that, brother. I say it all the time. The proof for you is 20 minutes away. What if for 1/72nd of your day you decided, right, Brian's nuts, I know, great, groovy, peachy, but for 20 minutes, I'll give him a small little sliver, a small little slice of the pie. Oh, and I'll get to the Tumor 25 here in a little bit. I went for my first 10K today, and I'll be talking, tomorrow night I'll be talking to the owner, the inventor, the chief, the CEO of Derek Noel Fitness. Derek has agreed to help me kind of like get back, right? He's something else. You see these videos of him on the internet, and you're like, wow, this kid's dialed in. But he's agreed to take over, looking at some of my diet, looking at some of my workouts. If it were me, I'd slap on the shoes and run a 10K every day. But I guess at my age, they're thinking, you know what, that may not be the best idea. So Derek will be joining us tomorrow night to talk about what I can do as I battle back. So I want to make mention of that. But what if, for just a moment, your mind was immersed in this field, and this field's sole purpose is to make sure that your heart's highest priority is on the top of your list? Right? And the cool thing, as I started to say about my gig, is that, I need some street creds. I need some proof. Here you go. You're 20 minutes away. Because here's what scientists now tell us, that when you start to connect with that field, right? And people say all the time, as long as this happens, then I'll be happy. But scientists now tell us it really doesn't work that way, right? It's what you manifest in your own mind in this particular moment in all of time, which is why I call it magnify the moment. It's what you pull out of this moment that dictates how the field responds, right? That your mind massages, your mind manipulates, your mind transforms. If I were going to write a piece, it would be about the epigenetics of entrepreneurialism, right? Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be, the next whoever, right? But the epigenetics of entrepreneurialism, if I were going to write a book, if I were going to write a piece, if I were going to call it the branding field, meaning what if the field is really into this concept of you creating a brand, of you being an entrepreneur? What if this field exists to make sure that you warp reality in such a way that you're able to put your heart's highest priority top of the list? Maybe I'm wrong, but here's the thing. I'm not asking you to go steady for 6 months. I'm not asking you to date for a year. I'm asking you for 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day, to see if you were to put your heart's highest priority top of the list and you were to go, hey, here's what I want to do. Candace says, makes this an awesome journey because I believe we will be immortal one place or another. Absolutely agreed, Candace. But here's the thing, we get into it, or I shouldn't say we, but I get into it when people go, I need my higher self, or I need a better consciousness, or I need the seventh heaven. And I ask people all the time, what the hell is wrong with the consciousness you have? What's wrong with your current lot in life? Okay, so maybe we're rough around the edges, you and me. Maybe there's some tweaking that we can take advantage of. Maybe there's a little rearranging, right? A little feng shui for your philosophy. Maybe there's some of that going on. But I'm not a fan of throwing the baby out with the bathwater because it's January and the ball fell, unless you watched NBC, and I guess the ball didn't fall if you watched NBC. I got to be honest with you. I was asleep by 9 o'clock Eastern. So the ball could have fallen, could not have, couldn't care less, right? But all I'm saying is, why is it that this particular moment and all the time, I need a resolution. Here's what I'm going to do. Well, what if you're already pretty spectacular already, which I believe you are? What if your mind is uniquely qualified to be manipulated by the field to such a degree that you do get to put your heart's highest priority top of your list? Now, all your naysayers, you're narcissistic. You're a hedonist. You're, right? Whatever. I got a shovel back here somewhere. You know what I'm saying, right? But what if I'm right? What if quantum physics is right? What if the science behind how consciousness works to manipulate the reality around it? Then why couldn't you use your consciousness to manipulate your own reality? Why couldn't you make it so that the struggle, the speed bumps, I put up something the other day that said, what if your best is just a speed bump? Everyone wants to be your best, that wants to be their best. Well, let me ask you a question. What if this whole petition to perfectionism is a simple form of protectionism? You're like, I got to wait till this is perfect. I got to wait till I perfect this. Just admit that you're too scared. Just admit that you're hung out in the backwaters of your own brain for such a long time that you're not looking for perfectionism, you're looking for protection. And all I'm here to suggest is the hell with being protected. Just throw yourself into the wind. Candace says heathen. Thank you, Candace, very much. So nice of you. Deep, dude, deep. The epigenetics of entrepreneurialism. Well, think about it. You know what? I mean, every scientist worth their salt, Lee, will now tell you that it's all about epigenetics, right? Epi, above the genes. That what happens in your environment affects the coding of your actual gene. Marcellus says, just keep the ego in check. Marcellus, this is the way the universe works. Let me tell you this. As soon as you came in, Marcellus, would just keep the ego in check, look who came in right behind you. Henry. It's a simple procrastination process. Henry, I absolutely agree. And maybe, Marcellus, the function of keeping the ego in check, maybe it's the ego is the one that's chop-blocking us at every turn. Thank you for that term again, by the way, Marcel. I can't say chop block without thinking of you. But what if it's our own ego? What if you and I really are our own wrecking ball? And that our reality would be simply different. The epigenetics of entrepreneurialism, the epigenetics of our everyday life, whatever it is, if we simply recognize that we're the ones that get into our own way, then what it allows us to do is say, yeah, you know what? You know what my resolution is for this year? I'm going to get out of my own way. I'm not going to blame fate, although fate guns for us at every turn. I'm not going to blame my circumstances, another excuse. I'm not going to blame my environment, another excuse. I'm not going to do any of this, right? What if I'm ultimately the one to blame? All right, let's take a quick call. Good evening. Thank you for calling All Natural Being. Who's this?
This is Ken Ratliff.
Ken Ratliff, how are you, brother? Nice to see you. How's retirement treating you?
It's pretty good. I've heard people say retirement's overrated. I'm going to say, no, it might be underrated.
Good for you, brother. Well, I imagine, now that you're an entrepreneur, that it's not like you need an alarm clock, but I imagine the first day that you got a chance to sleep in, you were like, nah, I'm getting up today, not for the alarm, not because I have somewhere to be, but I'm getting up because I want to get up and I want to make, right? I want to put my heart's highest priority top of the list. It's got to be very reassuring, I would think, Ken.
Well, Brian, I've been a central office administrator for 23 years, and the last 9 of that as superintendent, and it's hard not to let that get tied into your identity a little bit.
Sure.
So you let that go, you feel like you're letting part of your identity go. But you're right. I've got my own vision. It's all on me. I intend to impose my will.
Good.
To make my vision a reality, and that is to make classrooms safer across the nation. So I'm excited about it. So the first work day, January 2nd, I went down and visited a superintendent in the central eastern part of Ohio.
Groovy.
And just talking about how might be able to help his school. I feel really good about it. I've got a computer on order. On Monday, I'm ordering some CAD software and going to wrap my head around some of the design functions of this business, and I've got somebody I'm working with on that end. So I'm excited. I'm moving forward. Like you say, I'm going to, you try to stay out of your own way, try to eliminate the doubt, try to say, I'm scared, this is not going to work, and just kind of impose your will and make it happen.
Well, the nice thing about you imposing your will, Kenneth, at least as I see it, is that I thought of you the other day, and I don't know if I sent this to you via the email or text, and if I didn't, I apologize, but the number one story of 2018 was the Parkland City shooting. So the nice thing about you imposing your will, let me say good evening to Wendy. Wendy, thank you so very much for joining us. As Candace says, fishing, that right? I'd imagine that's a bonus as well. Fishing.
Absolutely.
But what you're doing, and Ken, for those who don't remember, is the now full-time CEO of Window Armor, and he designed it not just as an inventor, but he was also the one that recognized the need to be able to protect children in school classrooms and businesses and churches and dignitaries, the public buildings all over. And so he designed designed window armor, in case you've forgotten, and he's been working at that now full-time as the Inventor CEO since the 2nd of January. So the cool thing about it, Ken, is that the reason that I suspect that the universe will dovetail with you in that regard is that it's not like you're going out to, it's not like your vision is to sell lemons that are used cars. You know what I mean? Your vision is something that's actually going to benefit folks around the country, or around the world for that matter. So I think I'm very excited for you and what the future holds for you and your company, because it's something that you're going to be doing that's good for other people. So that's why I have such a great sense of what you're doing and what it's going to mean for you in the future. But now let me not get away from it, because a lot of people, Henry is saying here in the feed, retirement is a great institution that we don't mind being associated with. That was from Henry. So let's talk a little bit. Candace says fishing, so she must know. Brother Wallman, good evening. Hello to you as well. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. So let's talk a little fishing for a moment. How are you working some of that into your schedule?
That's a great question. So, my career, as you might imagine, as a school administrator, there's a lot of stress that goes along with that. And so I'm kind of committed. I'm committed to this going forward, but I'm also committed to myself. I'm honestly thinking I'm not going to work this any more than 3 days a week. I'm definitely going to go fishing in that. I'm going to make it work high energy and less days.
Sure.
I'm done working 8 days a week. I'm going to try to confine it and get some time out there in my bass boat. My retirement. We're up here near Lake Erie. I love the smallmouth bass fish, so we're going to do that. And, you get out there and you fish, and maybe you come up with some other great ideas while you're out there. Instead of, like you said, a lot of times we're swimming against the current. We're swimming upstream. We say life's hard and a struggle, because that's what we make it. And if we'll just turn around and go with the flow, that's where all the magic is.
I believe that to be the case. And if not, if you and I are wrong, then you get on your motorcycle and you take a little break, right? There's always another way of taking the chop block of fate and going. But I love what you said, Ken, about, what's going to come to me. Right? When I'm sitting there bass fishing, what other tweak, what other invention? My good friend Paul Hunnan that invented Fan Buddy and also invented the blender buffer. He just sits around and tries to figure out what he can do to make other people's lives easier. Right? So I think that's what you're talking about, Ken, when you say, hey, I'm spending some time on my bike, or I'm spending some time with my boys and doing some bass fishing. But your mind is still at work as to what you can do. And I know your mind's always busy on what you can do to make a positive benefit for other human beings. So that's just a great gig. And obviously, here at All Natural Being, we wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you. I like to say that it's not, you make your own luck. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You got your mind in the right place. You got your heart in the right place, and maybe a little luck matters. But I like to say I'm in charge here. I'm not waiting on luck. I'm making this happen.
Well, Ken, my grandfather used to say, luck won't find you lying on the couch. So that was
probably true.
That was one of his favorites. All right, brother. Well, we got to go ahead and get out of here because I have to hit a hard 8:30 call time. But the best of luck. Let's catch up tomorrow if you get a chance. But the absolute best of luck. Henry says retirement, the hobbyist's delight. Speaking about Henry and hobbyist delights. Good night, Kenneth. We'll talk to you soon. Speaking about Henry and retirement and enjoying all of it, I promised Wayne that I would be out of here. Oh, I got 30 seconds left. So here's Wayne going, let's just see if he can hit a call time. But thank you all so very much. Let me leave you with this thought in the closing 30 seconds of All Natural Being. What if we agree? What if you and I just say, hey, let's stop being our own wrecking ball? When it comes to our reality, let's just take some time to put our own hearts, highest calling, top of the list. What's 8:30? Oh, Candace, great question. 8:30 is the time that Henry goes live. Thinking Re-envisioned with the incomparable Henry Noel will be coming up here. Oh, look at this. I'm out of here in 3 seconds. So, Candace, thank you so very much for reminding me. That's what comes up. In 30 seconds, we are gone. Have an absolutely fantastic evening. Looking forward to seeing you back tomorrow night. Derek Noel from Derek Noel Fitness will be with us. So, Wayne, if you're listening, this is for you.